Hello, fellow model railroaders and YouTubers. My name is Dave, and today I'd like to show you a method that I use for installing track feeders on a model railroad. This method was first shown to me by a friend of mine when I first started building modules before I had a permanent layout. Today I use it on the Colorado and Rio Grande Central, which I am presently building at the time, and it is permanent layout. I'd like to show you some of the things that I use that you will need to perform this method. This video also assumes that you know how to solder. I will show you the soldering iron I use and the tip that I use for soldering the feeders to the rail. So with no further ado, let's get started. Okay, to start off with, you'll need some kind of drill, whether it be cordless or corded drill, preferably a 3/8 drill, and I use a 9/64 drill bit. You will also need some 20 gauge single stranded wire. You can get this from many places on the internet. Just do a search for 20 gauge, but you will need quite a bit of it. This here was a 1 pound roll that I bought from, I think I bought it from Fry's when I lived in Houston. So I think it's available there, or you can find it anywhere online at some supply place. I'm sure you can find it. Also, you'll need a little screwdriver. This is not the real big one, but it's one of the mini micro screwdrivers you get in a set. You'll also need some kind of a Dremel with a number 60 drill bit. That's the hole we're going to drill in the rail. Also, you'll need some kind of cutters to cut the wire with. I usually cut the wires to length at 3.5 inches, but we'll get into that later. Also, I use a WTCPT welder soldering iron with well, I have to get the part number. Let's see. The part number I use is a PTA 7B. It's a screwdriver tip, soldering tip, and it's specially made for the PT series soldering iron. Here's the tip, as you can see it. It works just great, and this type of soldering iron works really well for quick in and out of soldering on the iron on the rail, so you don't melt all the plastic ties. Okay, next I'd like to show you what it looks like, what the finished product looks like. So here we go. Okay, here's what this is what you'll get when the feeders are completed. You can see that I drilled the two 9/64 holes on the inside of the rail, and then I took the number 60 drill bit and drilled a diagonal through the rail down to the holes. So that's what it looks like. You can see that this is really good for concealment. The rail, or the solder on the side of the rail, will almost disappear after you painted the rail, and the holes in the center of the rail, in between the ties and the rail, will disappear after you ballast. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you look real close, you can just barely see the wire coming down the back side of the rail. I don't know if you can see that. Cameras don't do a very good job with this, but anyway, that's what it looks like when it's completed. As you can see, it's pretty concealed. This method takes a little bit longer to perform, but I think you'll like the results after you've completed it. Okay, let's get on to the next step, and I'll show you what I do to do it. Okay, now we're going to use the drill to drill the holes on the inside of the rail. I use Code 100 track just because it's bulletproof. I haven't had any problems with Code 100, and it may look a little corny, but I do use a track nail in the center of the Atlas Code 100 rail. This seems to work the best for me. Others might use individual spikes to spike the rail down, but I just use the provided hole drilled by Atlas. So what I do is I usually drill my holes around where a track nail would be, just because it creates less movement between the drill bit and the rail. So I just place the drill and I just start drilling the hole. And drill the other side. And we're through. I usually use a vacuum to clean the dust out, get the dust out of the hole so you can see it. Here's some pre-drilled wire that I use, or pre-cut wire that I use. Clean the holes out. Okay, there you have the holes. Okay, now next we'll drill the rail at the angle. Just grab my Dremel here. It's going to be kind of hard to do. See if I can get it in here. And you want to put it at a, I don't know, maybe a 45-degree angle. You kind of want to push up a little bit and down to get the drill bit started. And I'm through. There you can see the hole in the rail. Okay, now I cut a bunch of these pieces of the length of the 20 gauge wire. Here's a pile of them. I cut a whole bunch of them. I save one as a pattern so I can cut a bunch of them at the same time. And then I just take one of these, and the trick of this is to get it, because when you're putting this in the rail, it wants to catch on the inside of the hole. That's what this is for. You get a screwdriver that fits your 9/64 hole, and you have to punch the screwdriver down in the hole every time you push the wire in to get it to feed down in there. As you can see, it got it straightened out. If you don't, the wire, if you don't do this, the wire curls and it grabs on the inside of the hole and you can't push it all the way in. So I just push it down with the screwdriver tip. Till it's just on the outside of the hole. And you can see what that looks like. And from here, we solder it up, and the feed is done. I'll be right back. Got to get the iron heated up, and we shall return.